G'day gamers, VaderG here, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at the iPhone SE 2020 model, which was released earlier this year. Sports the A13 Bionic processor, which is the latest processor from Apple, and currently taunted as the fastest phone processor in the world. It's the same processor that's running in the iPhone 11 Pro. Obviously the big difference here between the iPhone SE 2020 and the iPhone 11 Pro is the SE 2020 is under half the price, well, roughly half the price here in Australia anyway. So what we're going to do is take a look at this mini powerhouse and see how it actually translates into a gaming device. So we're going to run it through its paces. We're going to try 4 different games. We're going to try Asphalt9, we're going to try PUBG Mobile, we're going to take Marvel Future Fight, and we're going to run through the behemoth that is Fortnite as well. Each of those games are well recognized throughout the world as being very intensive from a processor point of view, so should give this phone a good workout from a gaming perspective. Let's have a quick look at the stats on screen of the iPhone SE. So we're powered by the A13 Bionic chip, which is currently the fastest phone processor in the world at this point in time. We've got a small screen size here, 4.7 inch LCD screen. So it's basically the same screen as what was on the iPhone 8 in regards to size and quality. Screen resolution 1334 by 750. We've got iOS 13. Comes in 3 storage options. I think it also comes in 3 colors as well. I'll just show that on screen there. 3 gigabytes of RAM, which is generally not advertised, but that's what it has. Battery life of 1800 milliamp hours, which is kind of small in this day and age of larger phones and that sort of thing. But the A13 chip is reported to use 25% or 20% less power than the A12 Bionic chip that is in the iPhone X or XS series. From a weight point of view, 148 grams. One of the really cool things about this phone is it just fits in your hand really nicely. Takes you back to an era where phones were a bit simpler. Fits in your pocket perfectly. And it just has this kind of unassuming power about it. You know, knowing that it's packing the fastest processor in the world, it's such a compact size phone. It's actually something really cool just about that in general. Camera wise, 12 megapixel rear camera, 7 megapixel front for your selfies. Video 4K at 60 frames per second. I do always like to say I think the Apple cameras, when you're comparing the megapixels between, say, like an Apple device and like an Android device, I don't think 12 megapixel in an Apple device stacks up to 12 megapixel in an Android device. From my personal perspective, I'd say the camera on this phone, which is powered by the A13 chip, is probably equivalent of 48 or 64 megapixel Android phone, to be perfectly honest. And I know that's a big generalization, but that's kind of just how I feel about it. So what we've got is the fastest processor in the world for a very affordable price, and we'll talk about price here at the moment. This phone in Australia is $720. I think the iPhone 11 Pro is upward of $1,400. So you're looking at nearly double the price. Now, I didn't really want to turn this into a comparison between the iPhone SE 2020 and the iPhone 11 Pro, but since we've got the stats on page, the main differences here, we're looking at a much better screen on the iPhone 11 Pro, a larger screen, and obviously a much more clearer screen and much more advanced screen. We've got better resolution. We've got double the amount of RAM at 6 gigabytes of RAM, and we've got probably around about 60% extra battery. On top of that, the cameras on the iPhone 11 Pro are absolutely bonkers. Videos probably better, and it just obviously has a lot more features in general. So we're not comparing apples with apples, but from a performance point of view, we really are, because we're using the same chipset in both phones. Alright guys, let's take a quick look at the benchmarks from Geekbench 5. We've got the A13 compared to the iPhone 11 Pro, compared to the iPhone XR, and compared to the iPhone 8. The A13 chips up the top, the A12 with the XR and the A11 for the iPhone 8. We got a single core score in Geekbench 5 of 1330, which is very, very impressive. A multi-core score of 3,325, just slightly less than the iPhone 11 Pro, but overall an extremely impressive result from a benchmarking point of view. particularly for the price of this phone. So that's all great, and what I'll do is at the end of this video I'll run through some of the pros and cons that I found when I was utilizing this phone. But at this point in time, what we really want to know and what this video is about is, can the phone actually game? So what we're going to do is run it through its pace in the 4 games as mentioned before, and we're going to kick off with Asphalt9 and see how she runs in that game. Alright, here we go. So we're running Asphalt9 at 60 frames per second. We're going to do each game at its maximum settings. What we're looking for is frame drops, lagging, heating issues. Unfortunately, the screen recorder resolution of the SE is really poor, so what I've had to do is effectively just record the screen with another device, and the screen recorder is a bit of a weakness of the device. But anyway, that's enough of that. Asphalt9, how did it perform? It didn't break a sweat. So the summary is, it did not break a sweat at 50 frames per second. There was no heating of the phone. It was cool to the touch. Zero lag, zero frame drops. Super responsive on controls, and just absolutely ate the game for breakfast. So sit back and see what you think. Alright guys, as you can see, absolutely smokes through Asphalt9, the 2020 SE. So let's have a quick look at PUBG Mobile. We're going to run this game on HDR graphics with extreme frame rate and give it a bit of a test run and see how it goes. One of my concerns heading into playing the game was the fact that I am used to playing a larger device, and I was wondering how I'm going to go with the more buttons on the smaller screen. It's actually not bad. You adjust to these things pretty damn quick, I've got to admit. It's like stepping back in time. You can see dropping in with the plane and the actual drop in. Super smooth. No jaggedy sort of frame drops or anything like that. And super responsive throughout the actual gameplay with the iPhone 2020 SE as well. It did heat up just when I say heat up, it got warm. It got warm to more like skin temperature compared to the super cool that it was with Asphalt9. But really, it certainly didn't struggle playing this game. You could just, you could play for ages on this game. Anyway, guys, I'll be quiet and you can check out the gameplay. Alright guys, so I'm certainly not an expert in playing this game, and you can see this is one of my favourite moments of capturing these videos, where I do a casual walk away from someone shooting me, have a think about what I'm doing and go back in and reapproach the situation from a different angle. It is so much fun playing these games. I've got to admit, it makes me laugh. But absolutely no problems if you want to play PUBG Mobile on the iPhone 2020 SE. No issue at all. Alright guys, now on to Marvel Future Fight, another game that's known for its graphics intensiveness and making devices lag. My Apple iPad Pro is starting to lag a bit in some game modes. It's a couple of years old though, But I can tell you that the iPhone 2020 SE had absolutely no issues with Marvel Future Fight at all. Just powered through, and much like Asphalt9, zero lags. The areas that we look for lag are when Thanos does his 2 skill, when Captain Marvel does her 5th into her 2nd skill. Absolutely no problem at all. And yeah, you'll notice I'm playing with animations on just to make the game look a bit cooler because it is such a cool game. So giving a shout out for Marvel Future Fight here as well. It is my favourite game, guys. But yeah, no lag and zero heating. Just cool to the touch when playing. I can play it for a long, long time on this phone. And you can see the way, when I press the buttons, super responsive. So guys, you'll notice through some of these recordings that I'm actually using a screen protector on the phone, like this one right now. The screen does look a little bit off focus when recording because of the screen protector, and that's purely because I did this. I did the YouTube video in two batches of gameplay, and the owner of the phone, which is not me, unfortunately, because I love this phone, got a little bit paranoid about screen breakages and different things. Anyhow, Marvel Future Fight done. Last game we're going to try out is Fortnite. Now, this game is a behemoth. For anyone who hasn't played this game, it's like 11 gigabytes on your phone. And it is, in my opinion, the most intense mobile game from a graphics point of view. One of the cool things about Fortnite, it does show you frames per second. You can enable the frames per second. We're playing Fortnite here at the highest graphics settings available. And you can sort of see, you'll notice through the majority of this gameplay, it sits at 60 frames per second. No drama. Now, there is one tiny little clip towards the end, which I'm not sure what happened, basically where it was a kill. There was a bunch of stuff just popped up on screen. We had frame drops down to around about 40 frames per second, and it lasted for, 5 seconds or something like that. But otherwise, and to be honest, did not even notice it when playing the game. But otherwise, it just absolutely smashes the game. It's just, this thing is just a pocket powerhouse, I'm telling you. It is phenomenal. And for the price, it's an absolute bonkers pickup to get the fastest processor in the world currently in a phone for such a low price. And yeah, you're sacrificing a bit of screen, but it's insane. So yeah, guys, we're coming up to this area where we lose a few frames. It's the one-off. It's the one-off. We played this game for a couple of hours, on and off. It's the only time we've noticed a frame drop in the game. And it's not through the fight. It's actually, you notice it now. It's down to 40 frames per second. It'll drop down to 30 something there. And it's just when all that crap comes up on screen and it just drops off. So I wanted to show that because I'm not going to say that it's with, it's flawless, that it ran at 60 frames, but 99% of the time it ran at 60 frames per second. Alright guys, so final summary. What do I think of the iPhone 2020 SE? Well, it can certainly game. So we've answered that question. It can game really, really well. So I guess if you can look past the small screen size, the screen resolution is probably not the best either. So if we're going to talk, let's talk about the not so great first. The screen resolution, not the best. The screen size might take a little bit of getting used to for some people. The screen recorder is not so good. I'm guessing that's related to the native screen resolution. Outside of that, I can't really fault the phone. I mean, the battery is a little bit small, 1820 milliamp hours compared to some of the larger phones, but it's only powering a very small screen. And the A13 processor, 25% less power requirement than the A12 Bionic as well. So let's talk about the good. Let's talk about the great stuff. Well, it can game phenomenally. So answering the question, can it game? 100%. Yes, it can. The A13 processor is just an absolute powerhouse. And to be perfectly honest, to have this massive power from a phone located in such a small package, in my opinion, there's something really cool about that. There's something really cool also about being able to hold a phone in your hand comfortably and do stuff with one hand, rather than sort of some of the bigger phones we're dealing with now that are up getting close to 7 inches. To be honest, the camera is phenomenal. The price is bonkers. The benchmarks, well, you see the benchmarks is benching the same as the iPhone 11 Pro. Responsivity with opening apps was incredible. The classic appearance of an iPhone, hard to beat that. Just something really, really cool about having that sort of, I don't know, what do you call it? Unassuming power. There's something really cool about this phone just because of that. And we really had a nice gaming experience on the phone. So, guys, if you want to save a few bucks, if you want to pick up the best processor in the world for a pretty damn good price, look no further. You've found your phone. If you can't look over the small screen size, then maybe this phone is not for you. That is the only downside. And anyone who's buying an iPhone 2020 SE is probably upgrading from an iPhone 8, iPhone 7, or coming from Android, who may already have a small screen size anyway. So, guys, great phone. Absolutely love doing the review. Leave your comments below. Hopefully I've done an alright job. Thanks. Bye.